guys, so I wanted to do a separate video for this just because I felt that it was important enough to get its own video. So here it goes. I'm gonna try not to edit this. I'm not gonna put an intro. I'm just gonna upload it directly. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I got the question, how did you start doing tarot card readings or readings, and what made you start? And I wanted to explain that in the Q&A. But first of all, the Q&A got really long because we had to interview everybody and they had their own questions. And as much as I tried to cut things out, it was a very long video. So I also did not just want to add it in there to a really long video and not have a proper explanation of like why I started in the first place. So when I want to say 5 years old, I had my very first encounter where I thought it was an imaginary friend, but asking my cards later in the days and asking my pendulum, they said it was not, that it was a guardian. So I had my first encounter when I was 5 years old, and I saw this woman standing behind the fence at a playground, and she was looking at me, and she was like, you could see her, she was fully dressed, but she was like ghostly, like she had a white stuff over her. And the only reason I remember that is because when I told, I think one of my teachers, she said it was just an imaginary friend. So, but it's clear in my head because I was freaked out. I was scared that, you know, why was she looking at me? And then when my teacher said it's an imaginary friend, I was kind of scared, like, I mean, in a 5-6-year-old sense of like, why can I see her and nobody else can? Like, you know, like that. Like, as far as a 5-year-old could take that. So I got freaked out that day. And then when I was, as I was growing up, I started seeing her more often and often and often. And my grandmother died when I was 5 years old. So when I was about 7, I started seeing my grandmother. And yes, I remember what she looks like. Now, at this day, I remember what she looks like because of pictures. But as a 7-year-old, she had only died like 3 years ago. So I still remembered her because I used to go over to her house all the time when she used to babysit me. So I remembered her. So I started seeing her, and I just thought, it's just my imagination. I had a very active imagination, so I figured it was just my imagination. And when I was about 10, I started seeing like kind of like aura colors. I don't know how to explain it. I just like would look at a person and I would kind of just sense like, they have a purple aura, or I see like purple for some reason when I look at them. And I didn't know what it was. I obviously did not know it was auras, but I just thought it was a weird thing that I was doing. Like, oh, my mind is just associating people with colors, you know? So when I was about 11 years old, I saw the woman who, like, again. And the reason that what did I say? I was 11? Yeah, when I was 11. And the reason I remember her is because that is so vividly in my, like, it's so clearly in my mind because it freaked me out when I was little. So I saw her again and I recognized her. But she was closer. She wasn't, like, at a gate. She wasn't behind something. She wasn't far away across a thing. She was, like, close. And, like, when you're 5, you get scared of that stuff because it's the unknown and you're 5 and you don't know any better. But at the age of 11, I didn't feel like she's going to hurt me. I didn't feel, like, scared is what I mean. I felt, like, safe. So, she's been there, and I've had that guardian. And when I moved out here, 5th grade, I had an encounter in a classroom where the lights flickered on and off. I was like in, I want to say 7, no. As in 6th grade. Hi, Andrew.
Hi.
You can come and sit. I'm gonna say I was in 6th grade. Anyways, I went into this little classroom. It's like one of those teaching classrooms that they have one-on-one time with students with student aides. You know what I mean? Those have specific names.
Yeah.
I don't know. They called it the teacher room.
Student learning centers.
Yeah, that. So I went in there and I was supposed to meet like 2 other students, but they were clearly lagging off and like not paying attention. We'd clearly been messing around and like walking down the halls and we're gonna be late. And the teacher wasn't there yet. And I was sitting there and the lights flicked on and off. And so I thought, oh, it's just like the power or something. And then it happened again. And it happened 4 times. And that kind of freaked me out. So when I went into middle school, was when I really started researching all this stuff. I researched like spiritual sightings and ghosts, and I kind of got into ghosts and stuff like that. That's also when I saw my first ever scary movie, which was Stephen King's It, and he was like a supernatural clown, and so I typed in the word supernatural, and of course all this stuff came up. So that's when I started like researching about tarot cards and astrology and all of that stuff. And at the same time, my dad was doing Reiki and shamanism and all of that stuff. So that's when I got my first tarot card deck, is like right before middle school, when middle school started. And I started practicing with them, started learning them, and I found out I'm really good at tarot cards. So I started doing tarot card readings myself. I wasn't at the point where I could do tarot card readings to others. And that's when my dad was teaching me about pendulums. And he got me a pendulum. It was this beautiful pink pendulum, and it was really beautiful and elegant looking, and it was like, I don't know, $30, which is really good for a pendulum. And I was supposed to practice with it, and it was like, I want to say quartz, but I don't think that's right. Anyways, I was practicing with it and working with it, and it's like supposed to be like a good thing for a beginner. And I started asking it questions, like by myself, not with my dad, but like, should I do tarot cards? And it said yes. And am I spiritual? And it said yes. And it was giving me like all these signs that like, yes, you should do it. And I hadn't seen the spirit that I'd seen when I was little in a while, and then I saw her again that same day. And so I took that as a sign, started doing tarot cards, started doing pendulums, started researching more things I could do. I learned how to do palm readings. I learned actually what auras meant, and I'm like, hey, I've been doing that for years. And I got some like books to enlighten yourself and open yourself up to more possibilities and things like that, and that's when I really got into it. Why I really got into it is because all of these encounters that I ever had, and all these like signs that just, to me, signs that just kept telling me, you should do this because you'd probably be pretty good at it. So that's why I got into it. And then I got my first tarot card deck, and then my second. But in middle school, 8th grade, right before you go to high school, I had known my friend Helena for like a year, I think, and I told Helena about tarot cards, and she told me about an experience, and she said, could this be real? Because I've been told my whole life that it's not real, and then it didn't happen, and I imagined it, and I'm like, I'm going to ask my pendulum. So I asked it, and it said yes. And I asked it, should I join her with, like, should I teach her this stuff? Should I help her get into it? And it said yes. So freshman year of high school, I started teaching her how to do tarot cards. I did a lot of readings for her. I haven't really taught her to do pendulums or any of the other stuff, but she does know tarot cards. She's at least not a beginner. She's like in the middle of learning tarot cards. But we kind of had to quit a little bit because I was teaching her up until senior year, and then senior year got super busy and super like crazy and everything like that, so we kind of took a break. But I taught her, and it felt so great when somebody was actually like listening to me and like wanted to know this and like was really interested. So from freshman in high school to junior, like the end of junior year, I did tarot card readings for anybody who wanted them in my classes and everything like that. And usually Helena would sneak into my class and sit there with me just because I'm still a little shy, and while I'm confident in it, I'm not, it was better when Helena was there because she could, number one, watch them and tell them not to touch the cards unless I told them to if they were touching them, and she would be there just as a support. Until this girl decided to tell me that her cat had a baby, and she didn't have a cat or something like that. And you're supposed to, when you're giving a tarot card reading, you're supposed to be open and honest and like that. Because yes, the cards can predict something is off, but they're trying to give you a reading on what you specifically wanted them to give you. So she asked a reading specifically about our cat, so the tarot cards are trying to give an accurate reading, and the reading is all off, and I noticed it. They gave an answer, but I said, but the reading is kind of off, and she said, well, that's probably because I don't have a cat, and I was testing you. And after that, I kind of got upset and just kind of didn't give, I never gave her a reading again, but I kind of didn't give readings very much anymore. And I give readings to Helena and close friends and people that specifically have come to me and have been kind about my cards and not tease me about my cards. But I've never given a reading to her or the kids in the classroom after that. I didn't. It was just kind of I would give Helena readings, I would give my friends readings and such. So that's how I got into tarot cards and spiritual stuff. If you want to ask me any more questions about spiritual stuff, my tarot cards, any of that, you want to hear more stories, write down in the comments below what you want to hear, what you want to ask a question, and I'll do another separate video, because apparently you guys are interested because you asked me what kind, show me we'd like to see the cards, and then you asked me a spiritual question for our Q&A on Sunday. So if you want to see more, just comment down below and tell me what you want me to answer or show you, or if you just want me to tell you another story about giving readings or something. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was kind of boring, just me talking, but I wanted to share this, and I'm sorry I didn't get to your question in the Q&A, but it is in a separate video. So thanks for watching.